And we begin this hour with breaking news out of Syria, where the global leader of ISIS terror group is dead.
President Biden announced Ibrahim al-Hashimi al-Qurashi died during a large-scale counterterrorism operation in northwest Syria. Senior White House officials tell CBS News that al-Qurashi detonated a bomb at the start of the raid. The explosion killed the extremist leader, along with several women and children in his family. Multiple civilian casualties are also being reported. Officials say it was a success, and all U.S. forces that participated in the operation have returned safely. CBS News' Debra Alfarone has more.
Good morning.
President Biden says U.S. Special Forces have taken out ISIS leader Ibrahim al-Hashimi al-Qurashi, also known as Haji Abdullah.
Last night's operation took a major terrorist leader off the battlefield, and it sent a strong message to terrorists around the world. We will come after you and find you.
The raid took place in the Syrian town of Atme, not far from the Turkish border. The president watched the operation with members of the national security team.
As our troops approached to capture the terrorists, in a final act of desperate cowardness, he, with no regard to the lives of his own family or others in the building, he chose to blow himself up, not just to the vest, but to blow up that third floor.
Syria's White Helmet Rescue Group says it found the bodies of 6 children and 4 women inside the rubble.
Knowing that this terrorist had chosen to surround himself with families, including children, we made a choice to pursue a special forces raid at a much greater risk than to our own people, rather than targeting him with an airstrike.
This man says he witnessed the raid. He says, we went out and saw planes above us. 10 minutes later, we heard screams, surrender, the house is surrounded. The overnight attack on ISIS's leader comes amidst concerns that the terrorist organization was regrouping.
We've removed an ISIS commander, and that's very good news. Obviously, ISIS is a great threat to our interests, not only in the Middle East, but around the world.
ISIS attacked a prison camp on January 21st, holding about 3,000 of its former prisoners. It was the largest battle between the U.S. military and the group in 3 years. Debra Alfarone, CBS News, the White House.
CBS News national security correspondent David Martin joins us now from the Pentagon. Hi, David. So we know from the official U.S. Description of what happened at this attack that al-Qurashi took his own life during the raid, along with several members of his family. Do we have any information of the number of civilian casualties resulting from this operation?
Well, we're hearing from the Syrian first responders, the famous white helmets who went in to clear out the rubble and bring out the bodies, that as many as 13 civilians may have been killed. Right now, there's a discrepancy between what the U.S. Thinks happened and what the rescuers found on the scene. The U.S. thinks that all of the casualties to women and children were caused by ISIS itself, the setting off of that explosive device on the third floor. There was also a gun battle on the second floor between an ISIS lieutenant who had barricaded himself along with his wife inside a room, and both of them were killed by the gunfire. But U.S. officials say there were also 4 children in that room who came out alive. And then there was a family of 4 that lived on the first floor who had apparently no idea that ISIS lived upstairs. And when the commandos came off the helicopters, they were using a loudspeaker to warn the people on the first floor to get out while they could. And it appears that all 4 of them successfully got out without being harmed.
Now, David, we know the issue of civilian casualties, of course, is what makes these types of strikes so controversial. The Pentagon is devising plans to reduce the number of civilian casualties. But if we think back and look at the recent record, it's mixed. The U.S. failed to investigate a 2019 airstrike, killed dozens of civilians in Syria. And back in August, 10 Afghan civilians were killed during a botched drone strike in Kabul Afghanistan. What do we know about what this administration is doing now to ensure those types of mistakes don't happen again?
Well, first place, we should make the point that all those civilian casualty incidents you just mentioned were the result of airstrikes, and one of the reasons President Biden chose to conduct a ground raid in this operation was precisely to limit the possibility of civilian casualties. But the Pentagon has been caught out, I think, mainly in the reporting by the New York Times on how thoroughly it investigates allegations of civilian casualties. There is a mechanism. Every time a allegation is made, it gets investigated. But when you look at that process, what you find out is that the person assigned to investigate it, it is just a collateral duty for that person, and they've got all their other jobs still in front of them. So these cases just do not get investigated with the rigor that they should if the Pentagon is going to live up to its claim that no military in the world goes to greater lengths to avoid civilian casualties than the U.S. military. So what Secretary of Defense Austin has done is set up a center of excellence, a civilian harm center of excellence. And the whole purpose of that center will be that an office has as its only job, its only priority, the investigation of these alleged civilian casualty incidents, and just as importantly, the learning of lessons from those incidents. Because if you take a case where civilians were killed and you investigate it and you realize, oh yeah, we made a mistake, and then you put that report on the shelf, nobody's going to learn from it. So there is now a conscious process to, one, be more rigorous in the investigation of these incidents to begin with, but two, then learn the lessons from that so you don't keep making the same mistake.
The issue of these civilian casualties due to airstrikes has dogged administrations of both parties, and it continues to be an issue. David Martin joining us from the Pentagon. Thank you so much.
Sure.